Well, howdy y'all, this is Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. Glad to have you by for another Tales from the Bush. Well, this was a kind of a weird trip. I got called to this place. That right there is a 1969 Charger RT executive override car. This got to be the highest optioned 69 Charger I've ever seen. And yes, that is a factory sunroof. This was an executive override car. This car was absolutely packed with options. Options I didn't even think you could get together on a 69 Charger. It had factory rear defrost, 6-way power seats, air conditioning, lighting package. It was just mind-blowing what was on this car. But she was rough. Car was really rough. Now that right there, if I remember right, that was a factory black painted top, which I've never seen that before. But everything told me that was factory black paint on that yellow car. The guy that I sold the car to had been looking for this car for quite a while. I don't know if he knew the history on it or not. He never really said. But that car was super cool. Of course, the engine was long gone, but you know, it was what it was. It was an actual executive override car. It was a 2 fender tag car, if I remember right. But the car was rough. I mean, it definitely could be saved, but you'd be talking about a lot of money to get this done. But you ever seen a sunroof on a 69 Charger RT? Because I'd never seen one. This guy had a whole bunch of cars that were, in this place. I ended up buying quite a few of them because they were super rare. You're going to see another Charger in a minute. I don't think that was the interior of that car. I think it was another Charger. But that was the interior of it. Most of the stuff was there. It was just mind-blowing, the options that were on this car, like 6-way power seats. It was just, the wiring harness was ridiculous on this car. It had something in the console. I think that's why I pointed to it. There was a clock or something in the console. I can't remember what that was. But the fender tag was so packed that it bled into a second fender tag. That's what really surprised me. It wasn't because it was anything else other than the fact that there were so many options on the car, they couldn't get all the codes onto one fender tag. So it ended up going to another. Look at that sunroof. I keep showing this picture because I'd never seen a sunroof on a 69 Charger, let alone a 69 Charger RT. And it was in really good condition. So I'm including a lot of pictures for anybody that did actually have a sunroof, so you know how it's supposed to sit and how it's supposed to slide back. I didn't really get a lot of pictures of this car because, to be honest with you, it was really late at night by the time I got there. And he was showing me the collection, and I just said, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that. And I ended up making a lot of trips to try to get all the stuff back. That's not the interior of that car. I screwed up there and put that picture in there, but that's not that 69 Charger. Look at it, all the gauges on that one right there. That was really cool. I think that was a Roadrunner. I'll show you a little bit later. It was a 71 Roadrunner, I believe. That was the interior of another green 69 Charger I'm about to show you. The one I'm going to show you was in another video that I had, but the car was relatively complete minus the engine, and I think the car done with all the options on it, even without the motor in it, would bring really big money, because the car was, like I said, except for the engine, the car was pretty darn complete. But she was rough. Oh boy, that was rough. Not rough rust-wise, just rough like this car had seen way better days. Way better days. That's the door sitting on the ground for. I don't know why it was like that. That grill is not savable. It's pretty banged up, but that fender's solid, that hood's solid, the roof's pretty solid. Now, you've seen this 69 Charger RT. This was the lowest VIN number of any Charger that I've ever found. I actually put it up on the board with the Charger forum, and it was the lowest recorded VIN number. I did a video on this where it looked like it was a flood car. I didn't think the car was savable, so I donated it to a college or a university. But the car was 100% complete and untouched. So that's what made this trip the most exciting for me, because you had what I would consider the most highly optioned 69 Charger RT and the first 69 RT Charger ever made. According to my numbers, it was an incredibly low VIN number for the Chargers, and everything was pointing to that it was the first 69 Charger ever made. But like I said, in my opinion, this car was not savable. It really looked like it was a flood car. There was just rust in places that there just shouldn't be normal rust. But, I mean, you look at that air cleaner, the headers, the engine compartment, just, it really did look like a flood car. But VIN number was low, and the car was complete. The car was relatively untouched. That's the original stripe on the back, the original RT symbols, everything. The car was just cool, but I just didn't think the car was savable. That's why I donated it to this university, the auto program. The kids were incredibly excited to have the car, and I gave them my suggestions on what they should do with the car. I didn't think the car would survive an acid dip. I mean, you can see how rough that quarter is. I didn't think the car would even survive an acid dip. But, you know, I'm a strong believer, and you got to give it your best shot, because they don't make any more of these cars. That's it. What they made in 69, 68, that's it. That's a Fury convertible. There wasn't anything special about that car right there. It just happened to be there, so, you know, I took a picture of it. But it was a very complete car, and pretty darn solid, too. That was a 71 383 Roadrunner, I think. I don't think I bought that one, but that was an untouched car. A completely untouched car. The engine compartment, everything was all original. You know, it was an automatic on the call, nothing special about it. But look at that car, it's pretty untouched. Bench seat, or buddy bench seat, I think they called it. But if you look at that engine compartment, that's just a completely untouched car. And it's really hard to find them when they're untouched like that. It doesn't mean they're super rare, but it gives you a good starting point. You know where everything went. You're the one that can take everything off. Yeah, look at that engine compartment. And it looked like factory air conditioning car, too. Yeah, definitely it was an untouched car. Everything was original where it was. A lot of people don't realize that the reason these cars are out there untouched is because when they took the regular out of the regular gas and they came out with unleaded gas, these cars knock like hell. So everybody that was driving a regular car, when they took regular gas away and all they had left was unleaded gas, these things started to knock like hell. When you laid into them a little bit, like from getting from a light or something, they just sound like a diesel truck. So the only thing to fix that was to put hardened valves in it, which means taking the engine apart. Well, a lot of people didn't want to do that, so they just upgraded to a new car and parked it or crushed it or whatever. But that's why a lot of these cars are out there and they're untouched. That's the back end of that 71. That quarter had been ripped off pretty good. Look like it was a side swipe or something. You know what I mean? Look at the lower quarter. It's pretty solid. That's what the guy's place looked like. There was just stuff everywhere. It looks like he was starting a restoration shop, but honestly, it didn't look like things were going too well. That's why I bought up so many of the cars. Probably why he called me to begin with. There's that Roadrunner interior again. No, nothing fancy, nothing super cool about it. Just untouched. You know, I love the way those interiors were, nice and smooth lines. The back end of that car. I mean, look at how solid it is. Rear window, vinyl top still on the car. Trunk lid's not burnt out. Bumper looks pretty good. I mean, definitely a workable car. Needed a quarter. But the underside of that car was insane. Super solid. Nothing wrong with the frame. Nothing wrong with anything. The car was really solid. And definitely a savable car. I don't think I did pick this one up, but she was beautiful, except for that big smack in the back end, you know, which is fixable. Look at how straight that car is. From the front all the way to where that problem is in the back. Pretty solid car. No question about it. This ended up, even though it was only one building, it ended up being a long trip because I can haul one car at a time. So I think I bought 3 cars off the guy and I had to go back to South Carolina, drop the car off, come back and get the next one. But it was definitely worth the trip. This car right here was kind of a shame. This is a 71 Hemi Cuda. It looked like it was a race car in its day and it had been rolled over. Engine was long gone. Factory plumb crazy purple. But look at the frame separation on that. The car had just been stretched out about 2 inches. I don't know if it was because of the rollover or what, but the car was actually pretty much untouched except for the engine being taken out of it. But she was rough. This is what I like to call a hoop-to-do car, where they basically just bought this car and drag raced the hell out of it. That's exactly what they did with this thing. Original factory plum crazy purple car. Definitely looked like it had been rolled over early in its days because you know, everything was in good shape. Minus obviously the damage of being rolled over. But it was a shame. I mean, you could put a new roof on that car, but with that frame stretched like that, I don't know. Is the car savable? Well, it's a 71 Hemi Cuda. Just save it. It'd be rough. It would be pretty hard to do it, but, 71 Hemi Cuda Plum Crazy Purple, I'd save it. You're going to need a lot of money, but, it's definitely savable. Well, I appreciate you coming by and checking out another Tales from the Bush, and don't forget to check on our link tree and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I want to keep going. This is my life's work, and I like sharing it with everybody.